Trump and Vice President Vance playing host today, that was the idea, to the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy. And as I think you know by now, things didn't exactly go great.
What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Let's talk about the politics of all of this with NewsNation's political editor and the Hill Sunday host, Chris Stirewalt, who joins the conversation right now. I was talking to some of your producers who are based here right in the newsroom earlier, Chris. They said this reminded them of one of your editorial meetings before the Sunday show. They said it was almost exactly like that. Was that, is it, no?
It's a very similar energy, and I demand respect to be paid. Before any of the show meetings happen, I demand everybody goes around the room and tell me how grateful they are to work.
Yes, thank them. Say thank you. What is, I mean, so what's next here? So let's talk just politics. Like I put up a statement, or I read a statement just a minute ago. We can put it back up from the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. He says, we're not getting taken advantage of anymore, essentially. So what's the political fallout from all of this domestically, do you think?
So there are a lot of Republicans who believe that it would be very bad if Russia swallowed up Ukraine and began menacing the neighbors, and that we end up in a third land war in Europe. And they're very concerned about it from a strategic perspective. But politically, it's very yucky for them because the Republican base hates Ukraine now. Right?
Hates the money we're spending on it. Yeah.
You know, they hate that Trump got impeached for trying to get dirt on Joe Biden from Ukraine. They hate they're it's an anti-Ukraine party, and that's the vibe set in the Republican primary electorate. So the Republicans who believe that it would be good for Ukraine to win the war or hold the line, they now. I mean, what would they rather do? They'd rather kiss up to Donald Trump. They'd rather side with Donald Trump. This may give some of those folks who were feeling queasy the excuse to say, okay, now I wash my hands of Ukraine. Now I wash my hands of Ukraine. And what we'll find out in the next several days, maybe next several hours, is what does Vladimir Putin do? Is he gonna use this opportunity and surge in and ratchet up attacks even more? What are our European allies going to do? And then what is Donald Trump going to do? Is he going to punish Ukraine for this? How does this all play out? It's a very queasy time for Republicans in Congress.
Yeah, I was talking to Sean Spicer about it a few minutes ago, and he said Trump, he thinks, will just sit back and wait. And just so I hope Zelenskyy comes crawling back and says, well, hey, we need to restart this. Like, in other words, there's no Trump move right now.
Well, I mean, as the philosopher Geddy Lee said, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Ukraine goes down, right? Ukraine doesn't now. The Europeans are doing more for Ukraine right now than the United States is, and part of the fear in all of this among these Republicans in Congress is that a more and more militaristic Europe is not good news. Right? What the idea that Europe responds to Putin's aggression and Russian aggression by their militaries continuing to grow, them becoming more belligerent, them becoming more anxious, just makes the situation more fraught. Typically, what we have wanted to do for most of the past century is have deterrence to say, okay, Russia, you stay where you are, or there will be big, bad consequences. If our European allies determine that the United States is not going to be in the fight with them and they're on their own, things get weird, things get wild, things get very deadly very fast.
Listen, my friend, I hope you have your Sunday show booked with guests who can talk about this, because if not, I can put, right at the bottom, I can put a good word with Geraldo, and he'll wear those glasses that he has on if you want him to come on or anything. So we'll be watching.
We aspire to a level of Geraldo-ness. We aspire to a level.
That's been nuts. I've been saying that for the last 15 years, I think. Thank you, Chris. Chris Stirewalt. Watch him on Sunday. The Hill Sunday with Chris Stirewalt here on. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.